Hello, everyone. First question, can you hear me? Good. Good. So, I'm Jean-Marc Zola. I'm from Schneider Electric. I'm in charge of the building segments for Schneider Electric. Building segments are retail, real estate, healthcare, and hotels for us. And I have the privilege today, this evening, to facilitate the last session of this Innovation Summit. So first, I want to thank you for staying so long and with us. My commitment is that we make it as interesting as possible. We will go. I will. Ask for a short introduction, of course, of the different panelists. But before that, I would just like to set the scene so that we are all on the same page. And I believe I should show some slides. Okay, that one you already saw. So first, when I interact with Schneider Electric sales force, we have a tendency to talk systematically about greenfield large buildings. Why? Because these are the most iconic ones. These are the ones which have the biggest impact when you take them one by one. But guess what? Actually, the big opportunity when it's about business, when it's about decarbonization, when it's about impact on energy, is with what we call small, mid-sized buildings, and is also with install base. It's actually more with the brownfield than the greenfield. And we have indicated a stat here in this slide of 90%. It's from the US. Europe is the same. Roughly 90% of the opportunity and the buildings are currently buildings which have been built in the past. So, we are actually renovating those buildings. What are the main drivers which are behind the renovation of those buildings? And there are actually several of them, and we'll go more into the details when we'll talk with our panelists. But if I had to quote the most important one, I would say the first one is obviously sustainability. As you know, we have been talking about 90% of the buildings are small buildings. By the way, I didn't qualify small buildings, but let's say it's less than roughly 5,000 square meters, just to so that we are all on the same page. So you saw some examples. It's retail, it's hotels. These are some clinics, things like the small offices, and so on and so forth. So sustainability is the driver number one. All the different chains, all the main companies, they have now some clear commitments about sustainability, and you see that those small, medium-sized buildings, they are a big generator of carbon emission right now. So that's number one. Number two is energy. And here, if we step back and if we rewind the story, I think we have all faced that. When was it? 3 years ago? The beginning of the Ukraine-Russia war. Big energy crisis. And this energy crisis has had a big impact on the energy cost and has been a very clear wake-up call for most of the companies which own or operate small, mid-sized buildings. The third one, and we are all, I think most of us are coming from Europe, is linked to the regulation. Regulation is evolving. The most notable one is EPBD. It's been translated or in the process of being translated in each and every country. And this has a big impact on the renovation of those buildings with two kinds of, I would say, incentive or push. One, to reduce the energy consumption, but there is also, in most of the directive, and we see that in France, for instance, the necessity to equip buildings above a certain consumption with a building management system. So, three very, very powerful drivers. Now, when it's about technology, the good news is that the technology is here today. Technology is here today. We have, for instance, in Schneider Electric, a solution which is called EcoStructure Building Activate, which is a solution, a technology which does monitoring and controls for small buildings, a lot less expensive than a traditional BMS for larger building. But I would say, even more importantly, easy to implement. I cannot say plug and play because it's never plug and play, but very easy to implement, very easy to install and to commission. This is what I wanted to share with you as a really a starting point. But now let's go more into the discussion. Juliette, first, few words about yourself, your company, and then my question will be: I have mentioned some drivers for renovation of small, medium-sized building. You are in the market. You're in the center of the market. What's your experience?
Thanks, Jean-Marc. So, hi everybody. My name is Juliette Medana. So, I am in GLL, which is a global leader in real estate services, and I am personally in charge of energy and sustainability advisory across EMEA market. And so, yeah, I would say, to come to your point, Jean-Marc, the last year have been tough in terms of market, right? So which means that not enough capital investment have been put into a very aging building. So our stock is aging, and this is where currently, I would say, the business case for value creation on renovation is stronger than it has never been. So which is a good news, and I would say 4 or 5 key factors and critical factors for this. The first one, you've talked about it, this is regulation. Regulation is tightening. It's coming from local regulation. Because of the global context, we could think it's not happening, but this is happening at local level and putting more and more pressure on what we call the building standard performance, so the minimum requirement on building standard. So this is one thing. The second thing is the tenant demand. And this is structurally changing the leasing market. So we've seen many corporates indeed are taking carbon commitment, and it's increasing. But the stock which is available is not enough versus the demand which is arriving. So if we take one example, because we were talking about logistics just before, by 2030, 41% of the demand for low carbon assets will not be met by the supply, right? Based on our projection and incorporating all renovations that are already happening. So tenant demand is also shifting the market. This is the second big thing. Third is the energy risk. So you've talked about the energy crisis. I think energy crisis is having two things. The first is put pressure on energy saving because price and volatility are increasing, so we need to reduce the OPEX, right, when we operate a building. But also it creates massive opportunity. If you look at the logistics, once again, to keep on this sector, because of the electrification of the transport, you can think the massive added value of revenues that a logistic asset can provide. It can increase the revenue by 50% if we incorporate the energy service that a logistic can provide to the tenants. And then I would say the last one is a climate risk. Climate risk, this is emerging. I mean, we are not in line with Paris Agreement, right? And so we start to see this happening. It will scale, and the question of resilience of our infrastructure, our asset, etc., will become critical. So all of this create a value creation opportunity, which is massive. And the good news is 70% of the stock we need to renovate sits in the cities where the value creation opportunity is the most important one.
And you saw a shift those past years towards the renovation. You experienced that yourself with your company?
What we've observed is, like, because of the cost pressure, etc., many companies have focused on like quick wins, how we optimize, how we maximize ROI, how we do the sort of minimum. And this is why the stock is aging. But the thesis of value creation is happening. This is what's happening. And if we are not future-proofing our asset to protect the value of the asset and increase their liquidity by tomorrow, it's where you create a risk, especially when you are the landlord and you own it. The risk you are taking on, the devaluation is higher than the cost of action. So there is the question of cost of inaction, of not doing it today, basically.
Very clear. Piotr, I'm turning to you. Again, a few words about who you are and what's your company. And so you will explain more. But you're a partner, you're a system integrator. You are in the market. So, what are in your mind? We see this big trend towards renovation. What do you see as the biggest operational or technical challenge when it's about addressing this market?
Hello. Hello. I'm Peter Domański. I'm CEO in Zut Industrial, and we are the Polish engineering company. We offer end-to-end solution from consulting through design and implementation and maintenance after the selling. We cooperate not only in Poland but through the Europe. Come back to your question. We saw that the biggest problem for us and for the clients is the fragmentation, because they have a lot of sites, the multiple sites, with totally different age of the stores, totally different documentation, different BMS system, or they don't have BMS system. So this is the big problem. Also the problem with the culture, because the sites are in the different countries, we have documentation in different languages. So also the using and life during 24 hours is different in Poland and different, for example, in France, in Germany, or on different countries. So different cultures, fragmentation, and totally different goals for the departments. For example, construction, financing, and maintenance department have totally different goals in the same company.
So it's a very different topic from, and we were starting by, and I believe personally it's a key point, when you compare at what we have been doing traditionally in the past, which was one big building, potentially construction. Here we are talking about multiple buildings, small, very heterogeneous, sometimes in operations, by the way, most of the time actually in operations with lots of constraints. This is yes. What you say, right? Juliette, again, you're in the market, you're interacting with customers. In your experience, what are the first practical advice you would give them?
So I would say, if you have a large portfolio, because we were talking about how you address when you have a large portfolio, I would say necessarily you should start with an assessment. You can't make audit everywhere. Like, making audit is quite costly, etc. But like you can first start with like an assessment at distance with a technical potential. We have lots of solutions which enable us to do it at distance. And then you segment the portfolio because one solution cannot fit for all. So then you segment and you look at which one is the tier one where I just need to make some optimization. Which one I need to intervene more in the heating system, etc. And then which one need a deep retrofit. So here, for sure, when you have made this segmentation, provide like different type of ROI and business case. And so we were talking about it, but like touching to the optimization will drive 1-3 year ROI on going to heating system, etc. Can go to 5 to 10 years, etc. So this is the first things to look at it from a pure CapEx, OpEx perspective. But my few advice would be go beyond this first assessment because you can't miss the opportunity of wider value creation. And even if you are an occupier, the value creation need to be considered because you can engage a discussion with the landlord to say we have a common value we can create, how we co-invest. We were not seeing co-investment in the past. We have large program where now across the value chain we have a co-investment. And then I would say that, by doing this, the engagement indeed to drive the effort, consider also more longer term value we can create. And so do not miss, for example, to look at, we were saying, optimizing a business, an asset. Look also at the longer term transformation which is happening in the energy sector. And if you don't take into consideration electrification of transport, this is where you're gonna size and design your infrastructure by putting in place energy efficiency without considering auto production, how I need to equip an EV charger, etc. I'm not saying you need to do all of it. You need to think on how you design it to be future-proof for tomorrow so that when the time happens, you've designed it to be future-ready.
But you confirm that, I'm coming back to what you said about light, medium, heavy retrofit. You confirm that in most of the cases, light renovation can already have a significant impact with a payback of 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, if we look at I would say what go in the range of 10 to 15% energy reduction by putting in place optimization of system, definitely, and technology is a key enabler to make this happen.
Okay. Eric, few words of introduction. And then my question would be, to set the scene, explain maybe to us in a few minutes, because it could last for the rest of the session, the journey Auchan has been into when it's about renovation and decarbonization.
Yes, so hello everybody. Eric Bogne, I'm the Global Director Energy for Auchan Retail. So for those who doesn't know Auchan, we are retailer, food and non-food. We have roughly 3,000 stores, small, medium and large, in 11 countries. So Jean-Marc, we started our energy journey 10 years ago with Schneider. And nowadays, what I can say is that the main challenge is not anymore on the pure technical point of view. The main challenge now is alignment. To align short-term, long-term, quick wins, ROI, balance, CapEx, OpEx, opportunity, challenge, cost, and value. We have to align this ecosystem. And as Global Energy Director, one of my key roles is to do that. And then I act with the teams as business partner. And internally, we have two kinds of internal clients. The first one is the store, business. And action there is tactic. How to deploy, to implement, to monitor without disrupting daily life activities. And the second part is other department of the companies, back office, CSR, finance, CEO, asset management, how to support them for all negotiation with banks, with shareholders, including those energy, P&L, megawatt, uh, equivalent carbon. So this is now the equation we have to deal with. And the key point is, if I sum up in one sentence, is to emphasis on internal stakeholder engagement moreover than pure tech deployment. We are SBTI committed, so we know where we are, we know where we want to go, and now is how you bring people together to meet that target.
And I think it's a very, very important statement, especially in retail. And I want to come back on 2 points. You made one, and I want to add another one. The first one is about the decentralization, because actually this, and we have had this discussion, decentralization and empowerment of the store is part of the culture.
Yes, you are completely right. Within Auchan, we are a decentralized company with this strong DNA. And it will not be a surprise for you, decentralization quite often brings add complexity. And you have to deal with that. And then on that point, how to bring people in the same direction is first the why, engagement. And then best practices in store, because at the end of the day, each store manager is the boss of his business. And with best practice, standardization across stores and countries, there are an impact on P&L. So data-driven for P&L actions. This is how we tackle this decentralized DNA culture to bring add value to the company at different level.
And is it fair to say too that in your company, but I guess it's also true in most of the retailers, the dominant culture is customer experience oriented?
Yes.
So when you come with a solution which will change the set points of the temperature, which will impose that you don't eat more than 20 or sometimes 19 degrees during the day, it creates some friction with the operations, correct?
Yes.
And how do you handle that?
That's completely right. Our business is B2C. So customer experience is key. All of you are client, customer. So it's very important to be happy of the experience you have in a store. This is key. And then how do we manage all of that? It's a mix of education, vulgarization, once again, dialogue. It's very important, and to have commitment, because commitment is strategic. It's all the company. And locally, you can adjust the commercial or let's say a customer experience. But it's important to think global and to act local. We have some opening discussion now in the company regarding some call cabinet. The majority of them are closed. But for some of them, we still are discussing with commercial people, should we close them or open them?
When you say call cabinet, I'm not sure everybody gets that. Explain.
Call cabinet when you go into a store where you can buy yogurt, where you can buy pizza, where you can buy the food, usually is closed. But some of them are still open, depending on the country where you are. And close or open, it is not the same energy consumption, but it's the same price. And it is not necessarily the same customer experience. So we have to deal with all of that to have customer happy for their experience, which we pay a maximum of product it's good for our business. With the low energy consumption, it's good for our business as well, our P&L, and our planet. And then we have to deal with all of that. And on this point, best practices share is really how to do this kind of bottom-up management to tackle that and to bring people going into the same direction. And you have to adjust country by country. You can accelerate in some country. For others, you have to go more slowly and take another way. But at the end of the day, the target is the same.
Are you okay if I summarize what you say with the change management?
Yes, definitely. For us, change management is more often more cultural than technique.
But if I come back to you know that we are a technology company, so I cannot refrain for coming back to the technology. Even though I fully agree with you, change management is of tremendous importance. In your mind, when you look at the journey you have been into, which technology, which solution deliver the fastest ROI?
For sure, data collection and management. This is key and directly linked to sobriety. And then we put food into efficiency with lighting control, HVAC set point and control optimization, and call production, as I say, for our call cabinet monitoring. So on this point, these are the key points we have to manage. And now we have, I say, 3,000 stores roughly. 1/3 are big stores. And our topic today, small and medium-sized building, is roughly 2/3 of our portfolio, which represent 1/3 our consumption. So the first part, big stores are well equipped with BMS, monitor, with technical team locally. And the other part started to be equipped, but now we want to accelerate this part of small and medium-sized building. And to do that, the credo is simple. 3 things. 1, to standardize. 2nd, to automatize. 3rd, to digitalize. And if I may add, the cherry on the cake for me will be to embed IA.
On top of it.
Yes. And I heard during this session 2 days that automatization, digitalization, IA, Schneider have solution.
You want to come to work with Piotr, same question for you, but this time with a partner angle. You are very involved. Actually, you are the ones who are bringing the technology, and you implement it on site in the different countries and so on. So, for you, which technology is the best or good fit?
The best is technology from the Schneider, I think, yes? Yeah, but we're talking about EcoStruxure Building Activate. It's a very good and suitable solution for mid-sized building, and not only, but mid-sized building, it's very good. It's a 4-case scalable, fast to deploy, and customizable, and also easy to use. We can scalable that we can starting to install some pilot installation, create some standard, and then we can create very fast and grow to the whole portfolio of the clients in the very short time, without the rip and remove, and only connected the existing application on the site. The fast to deploy, we can install everything without disturbing the working of the store, and the clients have the goals in the fast time. They have ROI last 2 years, and they have to see the goals in the month, not in the years. So it's very good to see save the money, save the costs. And customization we create directly for the client special solution what they want. You told that you want to see the consumption, you want to see the you can choose what consumption of the HVAC, of the lighting. So we connected everything in the one place and give the remote access also, creating the schedulers and give the tools to knowledge and control the system. And everything is very used for normal people. You don't need to hire the technical guys to using this, but you can give this solution for the normal people working in the store.
Yeah, clear. And I think you echoed a little bit what Eric was saying when you were talking about standards, the easiness to make standards. You have one example, I believe, to share, which illustrate that, no?
The one example?
Yeah.
It's a good...
And I'm supposed to show a slide, so give me 1 second. Otherwise, I will be in trouble.
In this year, we cooperate and work with the big retailer, international retailer, which have over 2,000 stores in the Europe. In the first step, in the historical, they have all stores without any system. Every stores are only the island. After
there was no BMS. There was
no BMS,
nothing.
No EMS, nothing.
Okay.
No control system. Okay, they have some control, but locally, not have any connection.
Okay.
In the first step,
and it's a big brand, by the way. We are not talking about. We are not allowed to say who they are, but it's one of the leaders.
Yeah. In the first step, we install in 209 sites in 4 countries. We deploy the EcoStruxure Building Activate in 7 months only. So it's a very fast time to deploy it. We give the 1 point for remote control. They have login to the one website and have possibility to control lighting, HVAC, access control, alarms, everything what they have on the site, and also have information about the energy consumption. And the second thing, we give them the possibility of the ticketing system of the issues, so they can change reactive for proactive maintenance model. So it's also save the money for the clients. And on the numbers, we save energy the goals. We have the 15% of the energy saving. We also grow up the comfort working of the people, and we change the maintenance and increase the footprint also.
And I would say, you could think that this is unique, but I'm talking under your control. That's as strange as it could seem. The retail industry is completely under-equipped. When it's about small stores, because I agree with what Eric was saying. The big emphasis has been put on hyper or supermarket, but what has been left aside for many reasons. One of the reasons being that most of the retailers, they have also gone by acquisition, so they have incorporated in their portfolio other brands. So complete heterogeneous system when they exist. Mm-hmm. And sometimes very no controls or local controls, which makes energy completely under-optimized.
Yes.
We are at the end of this panel. We have, I believe, few time for those who do not have a plane to catch, and we are ready for questions if there are some questions in the audience. And there is a mic we can circulate.
Thank you. Question to anybody who want to answer, and there was partially the answer during the call, the presentation. What would be your advice for a company who want to begin the journey to equip their sites? And very simple on the first one, really to begin to unlock and to accelerate and to initiate this journey.
Juliette?
I mean, for me, the journey would start, and this is what I've tried to explain, with a strategic planning. Because, even though we have indeed quite a lot of technology solution, etc., the context of the different assets matter to make sure you take the right decision in how you're gonna improve the performance of the asset. So for me, it's necessary start with assessment of the technical potential, to segment your portfolio and cluster which one you can do what. Then depending on company, you have companies that love to work on pilots. So then you're gonna start to work on pilots, and through pilots, then you take some lesson learned, and then you scale it with proof of concept, because it helps also in change management and adoption, etc., etc. But for me, working on the assessment initially and strategic planning with an optimal financial pathway is what helps you to make the right strategic planning. And also, maybe to finish, what we've seen a lot is sometimes you put all the cost of decarbonization under the umbrella of this is sustainability, here is what sustainability costs, right? But renovating building is not new. We have renovating buildings since ages. And so all equipment have end of life. So when you are at the end of life, if you decide to change your equipment, it's much a question of how you upgrade. Or if you anticipate a change of an equipment, there is a value because your asset has already been amortized, right? So the question is to say, under decarbonization, what is the marginal cost to make it better and improve versus a like-for-like replacement? And I think that also in how we see companies that are making their business case and internal process for decision making, they shift to, let's look at the marginal cost to make it better, is changing the game under which we put this cost to decarbonize.
Yeah, and I think it's a very what comes to my mind is this. I believe this strategic planning is essential because you have contexts which are very different, which could be very different from one company to the other. Yesterday we were with a large chain, and they were explaining to us that. And it was the facility management team, and they were explaining to us, you know what, our executive committee has decided that we need to make minus 10% energy reduction in 1 year. Okay. Sounds familiar, Eric? Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. That's interesting inputs. But if you stop at minus 10% in 1 year, okay. I mean, minus 10% is feasible. You put in place procedures, you educate your employees. But the point is not the minus 10%. Minus 10% is the starting point. And we are not, I'm not part of this company, I'm not part of this executive committee, but I'm ready to bet whatever that the minus 10% will translate in minus 5% the next year, minus 5% the year after, and so on and so forth. So if you don't take that into account, if you are not in the strategic planning, with a strategic planning mindset, and if you just, stick to this first year, you will not make the right decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And when you need to make 10%, you can decide to do standard solution across all your portfolio, or you can select assets that have the best potential and on which you're gonna make, deeper intervention, etc. So the question when you have corporate goals, for me, is like coming to this strategic planning of if I want to reach a long-term goal, how I'm going there. And you have multiple scenarios. The question is like how you're gonna do it in the most efficient way from a financial perspective. It's not to do it. It's to do it with an optimal pathway from a financial perspective.
I do agree with what say Juliette and Jean-Marc. If I say it with my words, I will say it depends on your company. The starting point is to know where you stand. If you are a top-down company, straightforward, strategic plan. If you are a decentralized company, slow a little bit, maybe start by prototype, proof of concept, to bring people together. The second point is where your money comes from. If you borrow money near banks, their requirement will become your requirement. And it can ease and accelerate this strategic plan because they give the money to develop business. So board will follow that direction. And last but not the least, -10, what is the baseline? We can do -10 of what we want. Sometimes -10 is not, let's say, challenging enough. Sometimes -5 is just impossible. So the asset of the situation is then key. Within Auchan, what we did, we built a program. And a program is not just a sum of projects. It's a group of projects playing together to contribute to the same target. And it's changed everything.
You want to add anything, Piotr?
No.
That's clear. Any additional question?
I can maybe add one thing. I agree with you, but we can help also in make good decision. The very good idea is installation of the pilot installation and create the standard and check what exactly we need on the store in the live organism. So I think it's a very good to have a test drive like you buy the car, and after that you decide it.
And I think it comes back to what we were saying previously about the change management. The more you are able to show very practically in a very tangible manner the benefits, the better it's going to be. Yeah. And it's not, you do not prove that with the slides, PowerPoint, example from, you can, but it's not enough. Because there is always someone who will tell you, yeah, but we are different. Good. Any other question, remark?
Thank you. Given the political climate within Europe, how do you see that impacting corporate sustainability commitments and thereby the renovations happening in the industry?
So your question is, is there a change in trajectory, in commitments, in resource allocation linked to climate trajectory achievement? This is maybe you can start.
Yeah, so global context from sustainability standpoint is not an easy one, right? What I would say, and that we are observing, is like political cycle are like 5-year cycle. Like it's headwinds that are wave. But what we've seen up to now is like the corporate are really looking at long-term strategy on sustainability and are not drastically changing their commitment through the, I would say 5 years, I would say wave. And so we've seen some change in the communication. And many indeed are more communicating right now on energy, on sustainability, etc. But the core commitment, which is a belief that sustainability will make the business resilient, is not changing. So there is some refocus on cost optimization on short term, and also how we manage those short term and how we prioritize action. But at least among our clients, we haven't seen any massive change on what is the long-term vision toward resilience, I would say.
You
I confirm, yes.
What has changed in Auchan?
Long-term commitment, no change. Short-term tactic roadmap adjustment. The good news is that nowadays, to reduce your consumption, reduce your P&L, and reduce your carbon footprint. So even if you don't believe in environment, you believe in money. And then you continue in the same direction.
And maybe a last comment from my side. One shift that we've really seen this year is the number of a company looking at climate risk and like making clearly a strategy to cope with all events that are coming, because now we know that we are not in line. And so among the surveys that GLL is, launching every year, this is the first time of climate risk appear in the top 5 priority, and it's even in the top 3. And we have had many clients coming to us and say, to what risk are we exposed, how we get ready and cope with what is coming, in coming years.
Very clear. Thanks to the three of you, and thanks all of you for making the time.
Thank you.